everybody, my name's Mengy. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. I've been challenged by another motovlogger named HippoDrone. Apparently there's a motovlog channel going around the community where you're supposed to go through all the bikes you've owned in your lifetime and talk a little bit about each one of them. Looks like someone had a breakdown. Yeah. So yeah, HippoDrone challenged me to do this, and my response is challenge accepted. So I've been riding motorcycles since I was in grade school, which is a long time ago, 35 plus years. I'm not gonna go exact. Yeah, I'm older. And in that time I've had 11 motorcycles. 1 dirt bike and 10 road bikes. So I'll start with the dirt bike. Number 1. My first motorcycle I ever owned was a Kawasaki 90cc dirt bike. I honestly don't know the year of it. It's been so long. I bought it used for $25 from a priest out of Pottstown, Pennsylvania. He had it, was just getting rid of it. Back then, this is in the 80s, probably the early 80s. Back then you could buy dirt bikes dirt cheap. I mean, they were everywhere. Everyone had them. And then, at 16, I took the motorcycle safety course. Got my M-Class license for free, which is nice. And real soon after that, probably a week or two, I bought my first road bike. Motorcycle number 2 was a 1980 Kawasaki 250 LTD, red. It was a good beginner bike, but that's about the best thing I can say about it, honestly. It was a 1-cylinder, 250cc. It just had no power at all. It was like a Harley wannabe look-alike bike, you know, one of those cruisers from the 80s. They all look very similar. And it was a good bike. It just wasn't fast, had no power. If you get on the highway with it, it could barely do 55 miles an hour. If you had to go any faster than that, you had to be going downhill with the wind behind you. And even then you needed a prayer. But I rode that all through high school to my senior year, when I decided I needed something bigger, something better. So my senior year of high school, I bought bike number 3, another Kawasaki 440 LTD, which was basically a bigger version of the 250 I had. The 440 I bought was black. It was a good bike. That one could go, you know, 70 or 80 miles an hour pretty easy. And I rode that 440 all through college, back and forth between home and Penn State. And it was a good bike, fun to ride. So then, after graduating college, like the week after I graduated college, actually, I decided I was going to treat myself to something better. So I had a friend of mine that wanted the 440. He offered me some money for it that was pretty decent actually, so I sold that to him. And a few days later, I bought my first Harley Davidson motorcycle. It was a 1976 Harley Davidson Sportster, 1000cc shovel head. It was red when I got it. I bought it. It was someone's failed project. A guy was selling it cheap. He had it all apart in boxes in his basement, and he just wanted to get rid of it. I was like, sure, I can put this bike back together again. got a real good deal on it. And within a week or two, we had it back together and running. All the parts were there, so we got lucky. Because we didn't know what we were doing back then. We were just winging it. But I rode that red Sportster for that whole summer. And that bike had character. It was great to ride, you know. It had that Harley V-twin feel. But it had its fair share of issues too. That Sportster vibrated so badly that the mirrors were literally unusable. I mean, you couldn't see anything out of them. Not even sitting still. I mean, at idle, worthless. At highway speed, worthless. The mirrors were purely for decoration. On top of that, it vibrated so much that it regularly cracked its back engine mount. Harley back then used cast iron mounts for the engine, or for the back mount anyway. And the vibration just destroyed it. I mean, cracked it right apart every couple months. I'd replace it, half a year later, cracked again. And you could tell because the vibration would get worse after the motor mount broke. It was so regular that I could tell by the feel of the bike if the mount had let go or not. I mean, it rode fine with the broken engine mount, it just vibrated more. After the first winter I had it, I tore it all apart. I decided I wanted a larger gas tank on it and different handlebars and all kind of stuff. So I tore it down to its frame. The frame wasn't in best of shape. The paint had some rust marks on everything and it just didn't look that great. So I tore it all down, had the frame powder coated black, had the bike painted yellow and black, put a 3.2 gallon gas tank on it, which was larger than what it came with. Did a lot of work to it actually that winter. I rebuilt the whole bike and changed the carburetor on it too, because the stock carburetor it came with was a Mikuni carburetor that just ran like crap. But after that, it ran pretty good. The Sportster was a kickstart. It was very difficult to start. Understatement of the year. You really had to be careful how you started it. There was like a definite procedure to it. You had to get the kicker in the right place. And if you didn't, it would throw you off the bike. I mean, the compression of that engine, if you didn't kick it properly, the engine would throw you right over the seat. It was a fun bike. Sportster was a good learning experience. But after a couple years of that, I wanted something better. Something smoother, definitely. Something with a bigger gas tank, something more comfortable. So a couple years after I bought that Sportster, I sold it to a friend of mine from high school. I used that money to buy myself a 1993 Low Rider FXR, another Harley, red. And that bike was fun. The FXR Low Rider 93 was probably the sportiest Harley I've ever ridden in my life. It had great lean angles, it was fast, it was just quick acceleration. That was a good bike. At the time I had a friend who had a Sportster, a Harley Sportster, who he worked over the engine, put a lot of money into it, a couple grand, cams, all kind of stuff, to make it as fast as he possibly could. And he was all proud of it. But every time we drag race, my FXR Low Rider would just walk away from him easily. And he'd get mad about that. So he spent a lot more money for his Sportster with the engine work on it than I did for my Low Rider. Yeah, that Low Rider was nice. You always hear about the Harley FXR frames and how good they are. believe it, they were good frames. But after a few years of owning that bike, I decided it was time for me to buy my first brand new Harley. Up to that point, all the bikes I've owned were always used. I got them from someone else. So in 1998, I bought bike number 4, I think? Yeah, 4. 1998 Dyna Y Glide. I love that bike. Had forward controls, mini 8-hanger handlebars, Mustang seat, a big backrest, bobtail fender. Now back then, to buy a Harley, a new one, they were in huge demand. So much so that you had to put your name on a waiting list to get them. They were back ordered and the plant couldn't keep up with them. So I literally waited like half a year to get that 98 Y Glide. So I was happy when I finally got it, and I rode that. That was the first bike I put some serious miles on. In a year, I put probably close to 10,000 miles on it. But shortly after my first year of having it, it got stolen. One night, while I was sleeping, parked at my then girlfriend's house. I woke up the next morning, walked down to the bike, but it wasn't there. And let me tell you, it's a real crappy feeling to walk to where you last left your motorcycle parked and not being able to find it. You go through a couple phases all in a few seconds, like, did I put it somewhere else? Did one of my friends move it on me? Did someone walk it away? But no, it was stolen. Turns out a couple guys backed a pickup truck to it. Just a little bit before I went to look, before I woke up that morning actually. They backed their truck up to it, got out, threw it in the bed of the truck and drove away. Some old lady walking her dog actually saw it happen, so she reported to the police about the same time I was calling the police. So yeah, my 98 Y Glide got stolen. Now I thought that really sucked at the time because, well, I had to put my name on a list for another new Harley because, again, they were in such large demand, and that was the procedure. After I got the insurance money, which didn't take long actually, I went to the dealer and put my name on a list for another Y Glide. But luckily, the dealer took pity on me. And instead of putting my name at the back of the list, they put my name at the top of the list. So within really only a few weeks of having my bike be stolen, I had my 5th motorcycle, a 1999 Dyna Y Glide. The one that was stolen was laser red and black, vivid black, two-tone. The 99 Y Glide was Aztec orange and silver two-tone. Sharp looking bike. And it was the same as the one that was stolen, except this was the first year that Harley brought out the twin cam engine. So my new Y Glide had the twin cam, which was, you know, nice. Luckily the insurance money paid for it, like completely. So I didn't lose a cent on the deal. Actually, and this is going to sound bad maybe, but well, my bike got stolen. I actually made money on the deal. The insurance company gave me more than I paid for it because at the time Harleys were in such demand that used bikes were selling for more than new bikes, amazingly enough. This is around the 98 time frame, 99. So I got more from the insurance company than I paid for my Harley. Bought a brand new 99 Wide Glide and had money left over after it was all said and done. Amazingly enough, having my Harley stolen made me a profit. I mean, you know, that's good. That's the silver lining, I guess. Plus me getting another one so soon afterwards. But yeah, that feeling of your bike being stolen was just, that's terrible. Hiya, buddy. I rode the 99 Wide Glide for many years. That was the first one I took, like far away. I rode that down the Smoky Mountains and back many times, up to New Hampshire, Maine area, Vermont. I put on probably 20,000 miles or so on that bike altogether. Before, I bought bike number 6, which was a 2005 Heritage Softail, another Harley. They're all Harleys. I wasn't planning on buying the Heritage Softail. You know, I like my Wide Glide a lot. But my brother was going to the dealer for a tire or something, I don't know, I forget. And I rode along with him, just for the ride. And while sitting there waiting for my brother's bike to get done, one salesman, you know, he knew that we rode a lot of miles, that we were, you know, put a lot of miles on our bike. So he asked me if I was ready to step up to a touring motorcycle. And at the time, I wasn't. But we had time to kill, so I figured, hey, why not go for a test ride on something new? You know? And they had a brand new Heritage Softail, the 2005, on the showroom floor that they just put out that morning. I ran out of the crate. And I had never ridden a motorcycle with a windshield on before. Up to this point, all my bikes, you know, didn't have windshields on them. This one did, so I figured, hey, let's see what it's like. I hopped on, took it for a spin, 10 or 20 mile spin. I don't know how long far it was, but it was a good half hour I was out on it. And I came back and I was impressed. I was like, you know, that actually rides really nice. But I really didn't think they'd give me any trade-in value for my Wide Glide with 20,000 miles on it. Turns out I was wrong. They gave me a lot for my Wide Glide. A really good trade-in value, because apparently Wide Glides were in demand at that point. So I bit the bullet and bought the 2005 Heritage Softail. And that bike, to this day, that might be my favorite Harley I've ever owned. Bikes I had after that were better touring machines, but in many ways the Heritage Softail was the most comfortable touring machine I ever had. It had, when you ride a Softail, you don't really sit on the bike, you sit in the bike to a degree. You know, the seat's down in the frame, you sit lower than you do normally on other Harleys, but it was just, the seat was so comfortable. I mean, it like enveloped my butt. It was like I guess now it's not wasn't a hammock seat. I think it's a style. But that's what it felt like. It just felt like you were sitting in it, not on it. And I could ride that Heritage Softail for days on end and not get tired of sitting on it at all. It was comfortable. I really liked it. And I rode that bike. That's the first bike I took cross country. That one I rode out to the West Coast and back, all up and down the East Coast. I put a good 30,000 miles on that bike over the course of a couple of years. I'm gonna go straight. I had to Sturgis, to Oregon, all over the country. It was a good touring machine. But in 2010, in 2010, again, on a trip to the dealer, I was there not for myself, but I'm pretty sure for my brother again. He was probably buying oil or a tire or who knows what. And I was there just tagging along, riding to the dealer for a ride, for a reason to ride. And it might have been even the same Harley salesman. I'm not sure, but I think it might have been up at Schaefer's Harley Davidson. We're sitting there waiting, and he comes and asks me, "So, are you ready for a real touring machine?" And I'm like, "No, I like my Heritage. I'm not, you know, not really. But what do you got?" So, that was the year Harley had just brought back the Road Glide Ultra for 2011 model year. And I liked the Road Glides. I liked the concept of the fairing being fixed to the front, to the frame. I mean, I thought that made a lot of sense from an engineering point of view. So I was curious. And I'd always heard that Road Glides were the best riding motorcycle that Harley makes. I heard that many times by lots of people that, you know, once you ride a Road Glide, that's all you want to ride. So the salesman offered me a Road Glide Ultra, a brand new one, to take out for a test ride, and I figured, yeah, well, why not? Time to kill. I was curious. He said, "You need a bike with a radio on it." And I'm like, "I don't need a radio. I haven't had a radio for all these years. I've been across the country, all up and down the East Coast. Who needs a radio?" Well, yeah, having a radio is pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. A lot nicer than I expected, but more importantly, that Road Glide Ultra rode like a dream. I was impressed from the minute I had it out on the road. By the time I got it back to the dealer, I was like, yeah, okay. I don't know where this goes exactly. Let's go down this way. Oh, sweet. So yeah, I got back to the dealer and I was like, you know, all right, maybe there is something to this. I thought about it. I talked the price over with them for a while, talked trade-in numbers. And they gave me a deal that was really good again. Now this Road Glide, the 2011 Road Glide, so I bought it right then and there that day. So I rode to the dealer with my Heritage Softail and came home with a Road Glide Ultra. 2011, two-tone red. I wanted to say the name was Sunglow Merlot or something. It was like a dark red. Looked almost brown in the shade, but red in the sun. I liked it a lot. And yeah, that was probably my first true touring motorcycle. And I love that Road Glide Ultra. People were spot on when they say the Road Glide Ultra is the best bike Harley makes. It's the truth. It just is. That bike was easy to put lots of miles on, and I put 40,000 miles on that bike over the course of a couple of years. I think you can see from now, every motorcycle I bought progressively gets more and more miles on before I get rid of it. I don't even know what number I'm up to. That must be 8, I guess. Bike number 8 was a 2011 Road Glide, I think. Road Glide Ultras are good bikes. I love having the hard cases, tour pack, the lowers, the wind protection. I liked having the radio. The radio was nice. It was a good touring machine. That one I took coast to coast as well. Down to California, actually, with that one. And all the way down the East Coast. And to Sturgis and... But, well, when I I bought the 2011 Road Glide, I had a plan. I wanted to keep a bike for 100,000 miles. That was my plan. I wanted to keep it for as long as it took to put 100,000 miles on it. And I figured, well, with the Road Glide Ultra, this is the bike to do it on. I mean, it was easy to rack up miles on that bike. But then in 2016, or somewhere abouts there, Harley did something that I didn't foresee. They made a lot of changes to their bikes. They came out with the Rushmore bikes. And they changed the controls, they changed the latches on the saddlebags and the tour pack, and they also redesigned the Road Glide fairing too. To put vents on it, to make it ride better, to make it feel better, and the wind protection. And honestly, it looked better too. So, even though I wasn't planning on it, I decided, well, if I'm going to put 100,000 miles on a motorcycle, it might as well be one I really want to keep for a long time. So in 2016, I bought bike number 10. I guess it's bike number 10, yeah. So the 2011 Road Glide was bike number 9, I guess. I'm losing count, losing track. Anyway, in 2016, I bought 2016 Road Glide Ultra. That was also red, but more of a red. I forget what they called it. It was a two-tone, two different reds, big mixed together. That one glistened in the sun. It was a beautiful bike. Now that had the water-cooled heads on it. So that was the first Harley I've ever had with water-cooled heads. And they did help a little bit with, you know, the heat off the engine. Not a lot, but a little bit. But the Rushmore changes that Harley did to the lineup in 2016 were really nice. I love the controls on them. I love the infotainment, the GPS in the middle of it, with the radio and everything. So when I bought bike number 10 in 2016, I planned on keeping that bike for 100,000 miles. I still had the same plan. And, well, it didn't quite go that way because in 2018, Honda redesigned the Goldwing here. Now, you'll notice up to that point, I rode nothing but Harleys. I mean, except for the first couple Kawasaki's I had through high school and stuff, when I couldn't afford a Harley. But once I was out of college and had a job and was making, you know, living on my own and stuff, I rode all Harleys for 25 plus years. And I really didn't want to ride anything else. I wasn't interested. But in 2018, one day my girlfriend and I were out on the Road Glide getting burgers and fries for lunch. And I think while we were waiting for our food, we either had a magazine in front of us or it was on the TV. I forget where it was, but there was an advertisement for the new Goldwing from Honda, redesigned. And I had seen it up to that point. I see pictures of it and thought, wow, they finally made the Goldwing look good, you know? Kudos to Honda, good job. At least now the bike looks nice. But I really wasn't interested in it. I mean, I know I had the automatic transmission on it, the DCT, the Honda DCT and stuff, but you know, who wants to ride an automatic motorcycle, right? But we were out for lunch, and my girlfriend mentioned how I never test ride anything but Harleys, you know? How I should maybe, you know, look at other bikes just to see what's out there. And after a little bit, she just up and dared me to go take a Honda Goldwing for a test ride, one of the new ones. I figured, well, you know, sure. I mean, I'm not going to turn down a dare, but that I'll admit, I guess part of me was curious too. I mean, she was right. I never did test ride anything but Harley Davidsons. So we Googled the nearest Honda dealer, ate our hamburgers, rode over to it, and I test rode my first 2018 Honda Goldwing. And I had my eyes opened. Holy frack. It was a DCT, because I figured, well, I'm going to take one for a test ride. I might as well really experience something I never had before. Let's ride this automatic motorcycle. And like the first mile down the road, I was like shocked and awed by it. I mean, it rode so much smoother than my Road Glide. It handled better than my Road Glide. It was more comfortable than my Road Glide. It had heated grips, heated seats. It had an automatic windshield that could scroll up and down. It had all these features that my Harley didn't have, but more important than that, it just rode so much better than my Road Glide Ultra did. And by the time I got back to the Honda dealer, I got off the bike and I just kind of walked around it for 10 minutes. I didn't even say anything. I didn't say a word. My girlfriend was standing there, and the salesperson asked her if I was okay, and she thought I was broken. She thought the Goldwing broke me or something, because I didn't say a word. I just put my hand on my chin, kneeled down, looked the bike all over. I was literally in shock. I just surprised. Immense surprise. By the time I collected my thoughts, and I mean, I wasn't going to buy anything that day because, I was happy with the Road Glide Ultra, I mean, I was going to put 100,000 miles on my Harley. I was going to have it for probably 10 years or more. But we said goodbye to the dealer, got back on the Road Glide, and then I rode the exact same route on the Road Glide that I had just ridden the Goldwing on, for comparison's sake. And I just started cussing left and right. I mean, I was just, the comparison in ride quality between this Goldwing and my 2016 Road Glide Ultra was immense. I mean, I couldn't believe how much worse the Harley rode. It was bumpy. My girlfriend described it as, it feels like you're riding a loose bucket of bolts compared to the Goldwing when you're on the Harley. And she was right. There was no denying it. I mean, so yeah. But I didn't buy the Goldwing at that point. I decided, well, it's because it's new, it's because it's something different. So I told myself I was gonna give it some time. I was gonna think about it, mull it over. And I did. But I talked about the Goldwing constantly, and eventually my girlfriend got tired of hearing about it, so she forced me to go take one for a test ride again. And in, spirit of keeping her happy, I did. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted to, because part of me thought, well, it's just rose-colored glasses, it can't be that much better, the Goldwing can't ride that much superior to my Harley Road Glide Ultra, it just can't. But I went to a different dealer, a different one this time actually. I took another DCT Goldwing out for a test ride. I was by myself this time. And yeah, no, it was even more impressive the second time around. And I was like, well, okay, clearly I like this bike. Clearly I like it a lot. But I was concerned, because I was concerned about the backseat not being as comfortable for her. So I scheduled a demo ride. One of the dealers had a demo bike there, a demo 2018 Honda Goldwing with the DCT, where we could ride it for, a half a day or more. Take it out for a real ride. Because I was also concerned for myself about how, you know, I knew I loved the bike, but I was concerned about long distance. You know, would my butt get tired on it? Because it's so different than the Harley. So I wanted to go for the long ride and hoping that would convince me not to get it. And hoping my girlfriend would not like it. So that would be my reason not to get it. So we took that demo ride on the 2018 Goldwing, and yeah, as we got back to the dealer, my girlfriend said, if you don't buy it, I'm going to hit you. She liked it better than the Harley. She said it rode better, it was smoother, it didn't hurt her back as much as the Harley did. So I fought buying the Honda as much as I could. I tried to stay with Harley for as long as possible, but eventually I caved. I had to. I mean, it was bothering me at this point that I like this bike so much more than my Harley. Like, you know, if I'm going to be riding a motorcycle for the long term, for 100,000 miles, for many, many years, I might as well be on one that I really like, that really impresses me, that I'm comfortable on, with all these features. So in 2018, I bought bike number 11. This bike you see right here. 2018 Honda Goldwing DCT Tour in the Hawk's Eye Blue. I've had it now for a little over a year and a half. I have just shy of 13,000 miles on it. And I love this Honda Goldwing. Do I miss riding the Harleys? Sure. Sometimes. I miss the Harley allure, the Harley feeling, the experience, you know. I miss that V-twin feel of the Harley. Or rather, I should say, I miss it until I own this bike and riding it. Then I don't miss it anymore. Because this bike is just so much superior to my Harley. Yeah, sad but true. Will I buy any other bikes anytime soon? No, I'm not. I'm keeping this one for a long time. I see no reason to buy anything else. I may buy a second motorcycle somewhere down the road alongside this bike. I'd like to buy an adventure bike because I think they'd be a lot of fun. Something like a Honda Africa Twin or the Harley Pan America whenever that comes out. Hopefully it comes out someday, you know. I like to see it, I like to ride it. But for now, I'll be on this Goldwing for a very, very long time. With zero plans to go to any other motorcycle brand or model. So this is bike number 11. So there you have it. All 11 motorcycles I've ever owned in my life. And a little bit about each of them. Actually, looking at the time, a lot more about each of them than I planned to say. I'm gonna have to cut this video down quite a bit. I spoke for over an hour about all my bikes. I don't want to put up an hour-long video on it, so there, HippoDrone. Challenge completed. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, you sure can. You're more than welcome to. And ride safe. Until next time, take care.